the night my parents framed me for theft. I was 18. Cops dragged me out in front of the whole neighborhood. My dad pointed at me and yelled, "That's not my son. That's a criminal." My mom cried to the officers, "Take him. He's dangerous." I spent 9 months in juvenile lockup for a crime my sister's boyfriend committed. He took my room, my life, and my family's love. When I got out, they told me not to come near the house again. My brother sent me a photo of them celebrating my removal. I didn't scream. I just whispered, "You'll all choke on this lie one day." 5 years later, I made a move they never saw coming. And now they're at my gate screaming, "Please let us in. We have nowhere else to go." I know everyone says their family is weird, but mine just kind of took it to Olympic levels. I'm not some deep thinker or whatever. I just got to get this out of my head because I can't make sense of it. And maybe someone here will tell me I'm not nuts. So, this all really kicked off when I was nearly 19, but still technically 18. And so still living at home like most people, I guess. My family's never been super close, but not totally hostile either. Got an older brother Charles, younger sister Kimberly. Parents who act like they're running a boarding house half the time. Things got extra weird when Kimberly started dating this guy Gary, who's just one of those dudes who acts like he's the main character no matter where he is. Walks into a room and starts rearranging your stuff. Calls your dad by his first name. All that. First sign something was off was when my mom started hiding her phone when I walked in the room. Not even subtle, just screen down every time. At first I thought she was just sick of group chats or something, but then my dad started locking the garage, which is where I kept all my old gaming stuff and some of my clothes because my room's tiny. Never locked it before. Just told me straight up, "We don't want you messing around in there." And walked off like, "All right bro, whatever." Then one night I come back late from hanging with friends. Nothing wild, just some late night food and walking around because it was too hot in the house. I get home and my keys suddenly doesn't work. Like I try it and the thing just jams. I'm standing out there like a dumbass ringing the doorbell at 1 in the morning. After like 10 minutes my dad opens the door and just stares at me. Doesn't say anything. I walk in and the lights are on in the living room. Everyone is up. Kimberly's sitting on the couch with Gary. My mom is standing by the kitchen acting like she's been crying. Charles is there too, arms crossed and not looking at me. I try to go to my room and Gary literally stands up and blocks the hallway. He's holding my old hoodie. Didn't even ask. I tell him to move. He just stands there and says I should talk to my parents. So I'm standing there looking at all of them. And my mom goes off about food money missing, stuff going missing from her purse. Like really running down a list. Dad chimes in about tools missing from the garage. Says he found wrappers and cans in there. And that's not how we live here. I tell them I haven't touched any of that, but they just keep going and honestly start raising their voices. Kimberly starts crying, says she can't live like this, that I'm always angry and taking things. She's scared of me. Literally the only time we fought recently was when she borrowed my charger without asking, so I don't know where any of that's coming from. I try to defend myself, but Gary jumps in and says he saw me taking cash from my mom's purse and that he saw me sneaking out of the garage with a box. It's so random. I point out that I literally haven't had cash in months. I use my phone for everything and they just talk over me. My dad starts shouting that I'm ungrateful, that I never help. That Gary's the only one who helps him with the bills and stuff around the house. Gary's just standing there smug, holding my hoodie like he owns it. I ask Charles to back me up. He just looks away and mutters that I'm always causing drama. I try to push past Gary to get my phone from my room. He shoves me back. I shove him off and my dad grabs my arm. Not like a gentle thing, just full-on grabs and pulls me back. I pull my arm free and my mom moves between me and the hallway so I can't get through. I'm not gonna lie, at this point I was just mad. Not even sad, just pissed that they all decided to do this like they've been planning it. I tell them I want to get my stuff. My dad says it's all in the garage now and I can take it and leave. I ask where I'm supposed to go. My mom says I can figure it out and that I'm not safe to have around. What? I go out to the garage and it's all my stuff in a couple busted boxes. My old laptops, some clothes, my old sneakers, some books, all just thrown in there. Gary comes out, stands at the door and tells me not to try anything. I grab my stuff and tell him to move. He gets all up in my face. I say if he doesn't move I'll make him, and he laughs. I push past him. He grabs my arm. I swing my bag at him and he lets go. Says I'm crazy. My mom comes out, tells me to leave now or they'll call the cops. She's crying but not like actual tears, more like putting on a show. I tell her I didn't do anything. She says, "We just can't trust you anymore." My dad is standing behind her, arms crossed, just looking at me like I'm some stranger. I walk down the driveway and my brother is standing out by the curb on his phone, not even looking at me. I ask him what the hell is going on and he just shrugs. Says, "Should have seen this coming." I ask him to help me out. He says he's not getting involved. I just pick up my stuff and start walking. I don't even know where. As I'm walking off I hear the door slam behind me. I get maybe halfway down the block before I check my phone and see a new pic in the family group chat. Charles sent it. It's them in the kitchen eating cake. Gary is sitting in my chair, arm around Kimberly, my mom smiling with red eyes. My dad raising a glass. The caption just says, "Celebrating a peaceful house." I don't even answer. I just leave the chat. I walk until my arms hurt from the bags. Then I just sit on the curb and try to figure out what the hell just happened. Man, I was angry. I didn't even feel sad. Just mad that they all believed Gary over me. Like it was that easy for them to write me off and hand my life to someone else. If you're waiting for the part where I cry and call my ex or something, nah. I just sat there thinking about how fast they turned on me. And I swear to God I decided right then I'd make them pay for it. Not with some petty revenge, but for real. That's how I ended up with nothing. Watching my own family eat cake without me while some clown sits in my chair. And I only just realized how much they actually wanted me gone. No dramatic speech, no big fight, just a bunch of people quietly deciding I didn't belong there anymore. I'll tell you what happened next, but I promise you I didn't let that stand. I made a real plan and it only gets messier from here. Update 1. So I kind of thought stuff would feel clearer after they kicked me out, but nah, it just got weirder. You ever have that moment where you realize you're not even the main character in your own story anymore and everyone else just keeps living like you never existed? That's pretty much what the next months felt like. I was couch surfing, then ended up in a spot that felt more like a storage closet than a room. But at least it was mine and nobody there was hiding their phone when I walked in. Not gonna lie, first week or two I kept waiting for someone from my family to text. Not like some apology, just anything. Nothing. Group chat was dead except for the occasional photo of Kimberly and Gary at some restaurant. My mom posting something about family night, which was just them and Charles. Dad in the background. My name was never mentioned. I kept scrolling back through old chats trying to see if I missed some warning sign, but there wasn't anything. It was like they'd rehearsed this whole thing and finally got to perform it. I hear from Charles once in a while, mostly one-word answers. I'd ask if he knew what was up. He'd just brush me off, tell me not to drag him into it. Eventually I started thinking maybe I did something without realizing. But then one night I'm talking with an old friend and he says his parents heard I'd gone off the rails and taken things that didn't belong to me. I ask where he heard that and he just shrugs. Says, "Everyone's talking about it since your family told half the neighborhood." So yeah, they're not just done with me, they're making sure everyone else is too. Kimberly starts posting way more on her social, all about her new start and grateful for real family. Gary's in every pic, wearing my jacket, holding my little cousin at a family barbecue I wasn't invited to. One day I see a photo of my old laptop on the kitchen table at home. Gary's got it open acting like it was always his. They trashed or gave away basically all my stuff. My mom posts about decluttering and fresh energy in the house. It's not subtle. I try texting my mom. She leaves me on read. I try calling my dad, goes straight to voicemail. Only person who answers is Kimberly and she just tells me I need to stop harassing them and to move on. I almost laugh because she's the one who used to call me at midnight when she forgot her keys or needed a ride. I tell her I didn't steal anything. She says I need help and hangs up. I start to put things together. Little by little I hear from another neighbor that Gary's been helping my dad with paperwork. My dad's never trusted anyone with money stuff, not even my mom. But now apparently Gary's suddenly the golden boy. I remember Gary bragging about how he could talk anyone into anything. How his family always said he was the fixer. I guess my dad bought that because next thing I know the car that was supposed to be partly mine, we bought it together but it's registered to both of us, is showing up in family pics with Gary driving it and my dad in the passenger seat. I try to get some of my stuff back, like my headphones and old gaming stuff. But every time I show up the door just doesn't open. One time I see Gary in the window. He just grins and shuts the curtains. Dad tells me over the phone to stop coming around or he'll call someone. So yeah, I stop trying but I'm not forgetting any of it. Meanwhile, I'm just grinding to stay above water. I'm not living fancy but I'm not crashing on the street either. I work. I eat whatever's cheap. I watch shows on my phone because that's all I got left. I start keeping a list of stuff that's still technically mine. Subscriptions, accounts, anything that could tie back to me. Not out of sentiment, just keeping receipts. I know my family. If they ever mess up with any of my info it'll come back to me. The worst part is how normal they all act, like nothing ever happened. My mom posts about healing and letting go of toxic energy. My dad starts showing up at community stuff acting like he's got this perfect life now. Kimberly and Gary are basically running the house. I see them in the background of every pic, sitting at the table, using my old mug, wearing my stuff. At one point Gary posts a story of himself in my old hoodie tagging Kimberly with some dumb caption about second chances. It's not even subtle. I ask Charles straight up if he believes any of it, if he really thinks I did what they said. He just shrugs, says it's not his problem and why can't I just move on? I tell him Gary's playing them. He says I sound paranoid. I try to tell him about the car and my stuff. He says I'm lucky they didn't get rid of more. It gets to a point where I just stop expecting anything. I see a couple people from school at the gas station one day and they avoid me. I hear from a cousin that my mom told everyone I needed to get help. I just roll with it but I'm not forgetting. Every time I see Gary with my family it just makes it worse. I know he's the reason they turned on me, or at least the one who gave them an excuse. My parents have always been weird about loyalty. Like if you step outside the lines even once you're done. Gary figured that out fast. He's a pro at making himself look innocent and he knows how to act like he's saving everyone from some big threat. The part that hits different is when I realize they're all happier now, or at least pretending to be. My mom posts about the peace in our home. My dad brags about how much better things are with the right people around. Charles never visits me, just sends the occasional meme or short text. I start to think maybe this is how it's always been and I just never noticed. But the thing is I'm not just gonna let it go. I start looking at what's left tying me to them. The car's still got my name on it. Some old accounts still built on my info. I know where the papers are for the old insurance. I'm not an idiot. If they want to act like I'm nothing then they can see what it's like without me for real. I start making plans. Nothing wild, just steps. I know what Gary's really like. He's not as smart as he thinks. And he's sloppy. I'm not gonna just cut off their streaming accounts or whatever. That's small time. I want them to feel it, to realize they can't just swap me out like a busted charger. I start with the small stuff. Stop paying for anything that's got my name on it. I change all my passwords, remove my info from every shared account I can think of. If Gary wants to use my old stuff he can pay for it himself. I remember the car paperwork. If they screw up a payment that's on them but I'm not taking the hit for it. I keep notes on everything but I'm not gonna lie I don't have this master plan yet. I'm just angry and I want them to know they picked the wrong person to push out. I don't want back in. I just want them to realize what they've done. I start telling people the real story. Nothing dramatic, just facts. I hear back from a couple people who say they always thought something was off about Gary, but most just nod along and change the subject. One night I see a pic of my family on my aunt's feed. Everyone's smiling. Gary in my seat at the table. I'm not in it. Not even a mention. I just save it to my phone because I know one day I'll look back and remember exactly why I did what I did. I don't want revenge just for the hell of it. But I'm not letting this slide. I'm not the type to just fade away and pretend it never happened. If they want a world without me, fine. Let's see how they handle it when things start falling apart for real. That's where I'm at. I got nothing to lose and they're about to find out what it's like to lose everything they took for granted. Next part's where things start getting interesting. I promise. Update 2. Alright. So if you read the first two, you already know my family dumped me out like I was last week's trash. Handed my life to Gary, sister's boyfriend, world's biggest leech, and then just moved on. Or they tried. For real, I'm not built to just let that slide. I wasn't some nice guy waiting for closure. I was out for blood. I wanted them to feel it and I wanted it to last. So first weird bit. I'm at this grocery store and I see Gary in line ahead of me. He's talking to Kimberly on speaker and he's acting all stressed about bills and Dad's paperwork. I recognize the receipts peeking out his pocket. My old insurance, the car with both our names on the title, which I never got off the family plan because I literally never thought they'd screw me that hard. He spots me, tries to flex, says something about real men handle responsibility, and I just stare at him. Man, I nearly started a scene, but I just let him sweat. Over the next couple weeks, I start noticing little things. Friends who used to talk to me at least sometimes suddenly avoid me. My aunt doesn't reply when I wish her happy birthday. I get a letter about an overdue bill. Turns out my old phone plan, which Dad promised to pay off and close, never got sorted. I owe money now and my credit's tanked. That's when I realized, oh, they're not just done with me. They're trying to wipe me off the map. And Gary's probably behind it because he's the one who always talked about making problems disappear. So yeah, I start with receipts. I pull every old email, every text, every bit of paperwork I can find. I still have the login for the family internet, so I check. Yep, Gary's using my name for the Wi-Fi, the car insurance, even the utilities. I find my old Spotify account still logged in on the family speaker. Guess who's using it? Gary playing his trash playlists on my profile. This isn't some petty change the password thing. This is about leverage. I go through the car stuff. The car Gary's driving, my name's sitting right there. So if he trashes it, it's on me. If he misses payments, my credit gets cooked. I call the loan people, get the situation. They're behind on payments. And if I want off the note, I gotta get him to refinance or return the car. I already know Gary will never do either willingly. So I start poking at the edges, calling places, laying the groundwork. Every time he misses a payment, I call and report it. Just following the process. I'm not breaking the law. I'm just not letting them use my name for their mess. Meanwhile, I keep hearing from random people that my mom is telling everyone I'm in recovery or unstable. She's building this little victim story for herself. Whatever. I'm done trying to fix it with words. I start sending people screenshots. Texts from Kimberly begging for money. Notes from Dad about the car. Gary's messages bragging about running the house. I don't say anything dramatic, just show the facts. People start asking my parents questions. Aunt Rita asked my mom why she never mentioned the car was still in my name. Mom gets defensive. I hear from a cousin that there was a huge fight at a family dinner. Mom stormed out. Dad yelled at Gary for putting us in this mess. I'm not just sitting back either. I show up to the house to get a couple things that are legally mine. Some tools, my old laptop, documents. Gary blocks the door, tries to push me back. I shove him off, he swings at me. I duck and he hits the door frame. Mom comes running, slaps me, says I'm causing trouble again. I tell her straight up, if they don't give me my stuff or get my name off the car, next calls to a lawyer. Dad yells, slams the door in my face. Whatever. I walk. Next move, I start going to people my parents respect. Old family friends, neighbors who used to babysit me, the people who always believed my parents' side first. I just lay out the facts. I don't have to say much. Just show them how the car is still mine, how my credit's getting hit, how Gary's living in my room using my stuff and I'm the one taking the hit for it all. Some of them believe me, some don't. But a couple start pulling away from my family. I hear my mom got called out at a group thing for not taking care of loose ends. My dad tries to call me. I let it go to voicemail. Gary tries to DM me. Says I'm making things harder than they need to be, that I should just be a man and move on. He threatens to call the cops if I come around again. I tell him the next time he misses a payment he'll be dealing with repo, not me. I'm not bluffing. I start tracking the car, watching the payment calendar, setting reminders. Then comes the financial squeeze. I freeze the insurance policy that's in my name. I call the company, Tell them I'm not responsible for the car and any claims should go to the actual driver. Gary tries to renew the tags, gets blocked because I put a freeze on the registration. He blows up my phone, leaves voicemails yelling, says I'm ruining everything. I save every message. At the same time I pull my info off every account I can find. The family Spotify goes dark. The Wi-Fi gets shut off for non-payment. The streaming services drop. Suddenly all the little things they took for granted are gone. I post a couple subtle things on my socials. Nothing wild, just enough for the right people to notice. People start asking questions. Now here's the kicker. My parents start getting letters about missed payments. Dad's pissed. Mom's stressed. Kimberly starts blaming Gary for not handling it. Gary tries to play it cool, but I see him around town looking stressed on the phone, snapping at Kimberly. The cracks are showing. I hear from a neighbor that my dad's car got towed. I check the repo site. There it is sitting in the lot. I didn't even have to do anything but wait. The social stuff gets worse for them too. People stop inviting them to things. Word gets around that they mishandled some money. My mom's posts get less likes. People stop commenting. They try to act like nothing's wrong, but I can see it. Family dinners have less people. My uncle starts siding with me. Cousins who always ignored me start sending me DMs asking what really happened. Kimberly tries to call me, says I need to let it go and move on, that I'm making things worse for everyone. I tell her she picked her side. She hangs up, blocks me. I hear from Charles finally, who says Dad's a wreck and Mom doesn't sleep. He doesn't apologize, just asks if I'm really gonna go through with it. I tell him I already have. He says I'm not the only one who lost a family. I ask if he's happy with the trade. Last straw. Gary tries to show up at my place. I don't even let him in the building. He bangs on the door, threatens me, says I'll regret it. I just laugh, record it and send it to my dad. Next day I hear from a neighbor that Gary's gone. Moved out. Kimberly's staying at my cousin's. Parents are alone in the house. Bills piling up. I didn't need to scream or make a big scene. I just let the truth hit them where it hurts. Money, reputation, comfort. I didn't break the law. Didn't go nuclear. I just made sure they felt every single thing they tried to dump on me. So now they're stuck with the mess they made and I'm finally out from under it. But I'm not done. Not yet. Not till they know they can't just erase me and walk away clean. The last part, that's when it all comes full circle. You'll see. Final update. So I gotta start this one with the weirdest thing that happened all year. And considering my family, that's saying something. I'd moved on. Or at least that's what I told people. 5 years since the whole mess. I had my own spot. Nothing special. Old gate out front. Mailbox with my name on it for once. Not just family. Nobody else's crap in my kitchen. Nobody telling me to turn my music down. Just peace. I kept it low-key online. Didn't post much. Barely followed half my family on socials anymore. If I saw my last name I just kept scrolling. I noticed things had been quiet for a while from their end. No texts, no calls, not even a meme from Charles. I wasn't expecting anything, but it was weird how dead everything got. Then out of nowhere I get a call from an unknown number at like 7 in the morning. Let it ring out. 5 minutes later, pounding on my gate like someone's trying to break it down. I peek out the window and I legit have to laugh. There's my dad, Mom, Kimberly and Charles all standing there looking exhausted, dragging bags and arguing. They looked rough, like they'd slept in a car. I'm not gonna lie, for a second I thought maybe someone died. But nah, just my family finally remembering I exist. I take a minute before going out. They're getting louder. My mom's yelling for me. Dad's pounding on the metal. Kimberly's crying. Charles is on his phone looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. I open the door and they all turn like I'm the last glass of water in the desert. My dad tries to push past me, but I block the way. I tell him to stop and ask what they want. Mom starts talking about how they need a place to stay. Things got complicated and she knows family is family. She's talking fast, not even looking at me, just clutching her purse and glancing over her shoulder. Dad tries to jump in, says it's urgent and I owe them at least this much. Kimberly's crying now, not saying anything, just wiping her face with her sleeve. Charles looks at me and just shrugs like he's not really part of this train wreck. I ask what happened. Dad says they lost the house, something about debts, legal stuff. Gary bounced months ago. Left Kimberly with a stack of bills and no answers. I ask if Gary's coming too and my dad snaps, says I shouldn't mention that name. I almost laugh. I tell them I'm not just gonna let them move in. Mom starts begging, says they have nowhere else, that I'm their son and how can I do this to us? I remind her of the night the cops dragged me out. How she told them to take me. How they all stood there and watched. She shakes her head. Says that was a mistake. They were scared. Gary convinced them I was dangerous. I say, so you just believed him? You just forgot who I was. Dad says I never made things easy, that I always caused problems, that Gary was just trying to help. I can't even look at him for a second. I feel like I might swing. Kimberly tries to step forward and I back up, not letting her pass the gate. I ask her why she never said anything, why she let them do it, why she let Gary walk all over me. She just says she was scared, that nobody listened to her, that she lost everything too. I tell her I didn't do that. Gary did and she picked him over her own brother. Charles finally says something. Says it's not fair that I can't just leave them out here. I tell him they left me with nothing and I survived. I tell him to figure it out like I had to. He gets mad, tries to push the gate. I push back. He stumbles. Dad grabs him, tells him to stop. I stand there holding the gate and just say, no. Not today. Not ever. I tell them they made their choice. They can live with it. Mom starts crying harder. Dad swears at me. Kimberly's yelling now saying I'm heartless, that I'm not her brother. I tell her that's funny because that's what Dad called me out in the street, remember? Not his son, just a criminal. They stand there for a while arguing. Bags at their feet, cars driving by, neighbors peeking out their windows. I don't care. I just stand there until they stop yelling. Mom tries one more time, says, please, just one night. I shake my head, close the gate and lock it. Dad kicks it. Mom slaps the metal and yells. Kimberly screams at me. Charles just stands there staring. I go back inside, shut the door, leave them out there. I see them through the window still arguing, blaming each other. Nobody apologizing, nobody taking the hit. I sit at my table, scroll through my phone, eat breakfast. I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything really. They never once thought about what it was like for me, so why should I now? Later I get a text from Charles. It's just one word. But I don't answer. Let them figure it out. I got my life back and they get to taste what they served me. That's real justice. And if you've ever wondered if walking away is enough, I'm here to tell you sometimes you gotta slam the door and let people hear what it sounds like from the other side. That's it. That's the story. I'm out. This is 100% clean narration only, exact wording, pacing, and tone preserved, ready for a perfect Hidden Lies voiceover. Let me know if you need it broken into parts or any tiny tweaks.